Welcome to the hidden stage, the place where reality meets illusion, where the veil of perception is both your prison and your path to liberation. Today, we're going to peel back the layers of two of cinema's most profound allegories, The Truman Show and The Matrix. But this isn't just about movies. This is about the ancient esoteric knowledge woven into every frame, the Freemasonic symbolism hidden in plain sight, and the revelation that these stories might be showing us something far more real than we've been willing to see. What if I told you that these films are not entertainment, but initiation ceremonies? That they reveal the blueprint of control systems that have governed human consciousness for millennia? The Freemasons, the mystery schools, the ancient architects of hidden knowledge, they all knew something about the nature of reality itself, and they encoded it into allegory, into symbol, into the very stories we consume without question. Let's begin with The Truman Show. On the surface, it's a simple tale about a man discovering his life is a television production. But look deeper. The very name of the show's creator, Christoph, Christ off. Not Christ, but an imitation of the divine, a false god, a demiurge in the Gnostic tradition. The ancient Gnostics believed that the material world was created not by the true God, but by a lesser being, an architect who imprisons souls in matter. Sound familiar? Christoph resides in the moon, in the sky, speaking from on high, controlling the weather, the sun, the very fabric of Truman's existence. He is the god of that world. But notice this, he is not omnipotent. He can create the stage, but he cannot control Truman's will. This is the great secret. The demiurge, the false god, has power over the material, but not over consciousness itself, not over the spark of true divinity within. The dome, that massive geodesic structure containing Sea Haven. This is no random architectural choice. This is the Masonic temple. This is the firmament of ancient cosmology. The Freemasons built their lodges as representations of Solomon's temple, which itself was a microcosm of the universe. The lodge has walls, a floor, a ceiling, boundaries, just like Truman's dome. And every Masonic ritual takes place within these boundaries, within the temple, the constructed reality. In Freemasonry, there are 3 degrees that every initiate must pass through: entered apprentice, fellowcraft, and Master Mason. Watch Truman's journey. He begins in ignorance, accepting the world as it appears. This is the entered apprentice stage, blind, unquestioning, following the prescribed path. Then comes the moment of doubt. The light falls from the sky bearing the name Sirius. Sirius, the brightest star, sacred to the ancient Egyptians and central to Masonic symbolism. This is no accident. Sirius represents the divine light piercing through the illusion. As Truman questions his reality, he becomes the fellowcraft, the seeker. He begins to use tools, to investigate, to test the boundaries of his world. He attempts to travel, to break free, but he encounters fear. The bridge, water, his father's supposed drowning. These are initiatory trials. In Freemasonry, the candidate must confront death symbolically to be reborn. Truman must face his deepest fear, water, to cross the threshold. The Truman Show gives us the 2 pillars of Solomon's temple in symbolic form. In Freemasonry, these pillars are named Jachin and Boaz. Jachin meaning he shall establish, and Boaz meaning in strength. They stand at the entrance to the temple, representing duality, light and dark, male and female, the material and the spiritual. They are the gateway through which the initiate must pass. For Truman, these pillars appear as choices: stay or go, accept or question. The blue door at the edge of the dome is his ultimate test. When he reaches that door, when he touches the painted sky and realizes the entire world is a construction, He has reached the Master Mason degree, Gnosis, knowledge, awakening. The veil is lifted. But here's where it gets deeper. Christoph offers Truman a final temptation. You can stay. I can offer you safety, predictability, comfort. This is the offer of the false god, the Demiurge. It is the same offer made to every initiate who reaches the threshold. Remain in ignorance and comfort, or step into the unknown truth. Truman chooses the door. He chooses freedom over security. He speaks his signature line one final time. In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. It's a farewell to the false reality, a death of the old self. And what does he find beyond the door? The script doesn't tell us, because that's the point. The answer lies beyond the veil, beyond the material construction, in the realm that cannot be shown, only experienced. This is the initiation complete. Truman becomes the Master Mason, the one who has died to the false world and been reborn into truth. Now, let's turn to the Matrix. If the Truman Show is the Masonic temple, the Matrix is the Kabbalistic tree of life made manifest. The Kabbalah, the mystical tradition of Judaism, describes 10 spheres called Sephiroth, arranged in a sacred pattern known as the Tree of Life. This tree maps the descent of divine consciousness from the infinite source, Ein Sof, down through progressive levels of materialization until it reaches Malkuth, the material world. The Matrix is Malkuth. It is the lowest sphere, the realm of matter, illusion, and ignorance. But notice, in the film, the Matrix is not real. It's a computer simulation, a false reality projected into the minds of sleeping humans. This is precisely what the Kabbalists taught, that the material world is a lesser reality, a shadow cast by higher dimensions of consciousness. Neo, our protagonist, begins in ignorance. He is Thomas Anderson, a corporate slave, a battery for the machine. Thomas means twin, suggesting duality, division, the state of being trapped between two worlds. But his hacker name is Neo. Rearrange the letters. 1. He is the One, the prophesied Savior, the consciousness that will transcend the illusion. Morpheus offers Neo a choice, the blue pill or the red pill. This is the most iconic scene in modern cinema, and it is pure Gnostic symbolism. The blue pill represents remaining in ignorance, in the cave, in the comfortable lie. Plato's allegory of the cave is invoked explicitly here. The prisoners in the cave see only shadows on the wall, never realizing they are illusions cast by a fire behind them. They are comfortable in their ignorance. The red pill is gnosis, knowledge, the painful truth. Morpheus even tells Neo, "I'm offering you the truth, nothing more." This is the language of the mystery schools, of Gnostic initiation. The red pill is the philosopher's stone, the key that unlocks perception, the symbol of awakening consciousness. And what happens when Neo takes it? He wakes up in a pod, covered in slime, his eyes burning from never having been used. This is Plato's cave allegory made literal. The prisoner released into sunlight, eyes unable to process the truth after a lifetime in darkness. Let's map Neo's journey through the Kabbalistic tree of life. At the bottom is Malkuth, the material world, the Matrix. This is where Neo starts, asleep, unaware, plugged in. When he takes the red pill, he ascends to Yesod, the sphere of the astral realm, the foundation. This is the Nebuchadnezzar, the hovercraft, the liminal space between the false world and the real world. Yesod is associated with the moon, with illusion, with the unconscious. It's the transition zone, and Neo must train here. He must learn that there is no spoon, that the rules of the matrix can be bent, broken. This is fellowcraft initiation, learning the tools, understanding the architecture of the illusion. But Neo struggles. He is not yet the one. He dies. Agent Smith shoots him, and Trinity watches him flatline. This is the death of the ego, the symbolic death required in Masonic ritual. Neo must die as Thomas Anderson to be reborn as the One. And how does he revive? Through love, through Trinity. Trinity is the divine feminine, the Shekinah in Kabbalah, the presence of God that dwells in the material world. Her kiss is the awakening, the resurrection. And when Neo rises, everything changes. He sees the code, the green rain of numbers that composes the matrix. This is Dath, the hidden sphere on the tree of life, the sphere of knowledge that exists between the lower and upper realms. Dath is the abyss, the void, the place where one either falls into madness or crosses into enlightenment. Neo crosses it. He sees reality as it truly is. Information, code, the mathematical structure underlying the illusion. In the sequels, Neo meets the architect. The architect is not God. He is the demiurge, the programmer, the false creator who designed the prison. He tells Neo that this is the 6th iteration of the matrix, that everything is controlled, that even the rebellion is part of the design. This is the great reveal. Even our resistance might be manufactured, our freedom an illusion within an illusion. But the architect has a flaw. He cannot account for love, for choice, for the irrational. He is pure logic, cold mathematics. He is the Masonic square, order, precision, measurement. But Neo is the compass, spirit, intuition, the divine spark. The square and compass together form the central symbol of Freemasonry, representing the marriage of matter and spirit, logic and intuition, the earthly and the divine. Let's talk about the number 33. In Freemasonry, the Scottish Rite culminates in the 33rd degree, the highest public honor. Why 33? It's the age Christ was crucified. It's the number of vertebrae in the human spine, representing the path of Kundalini energy rising from the base of the spine to the crown. It's 1/10 of 330, the number of degrees in a full circle minus 30, symbolizing the human as a fractional expression of the divine whole. In the Truman Show, Truman is 30 years old when the show begins its 30th season. 30 and 30. 33 when combined in numerological reduction. The show is broadcast 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 24 times 7 equals 168 hours. And 1 plus 6 plus 8 equals 15. And 1 plus 5 equals 6 again. The hexagon, the six-sided figure, appears repeatedly in esoteric symbolism as the union of opposites. Two triangles, one pointing up, spirit descending, and one pointing down, matter ascending, forming the Star of David, the Seal of Solomon. In the Matrix, Neo's apartment number is 101. In binary, this is 5, the number of man, 4 limbs plus the head, the pentagram. But 101 is also a mirror. It reads the same forwards and backwards, symbolizing the idea of as above, so below. The Hermetic principle that the microcosm reflects the macrocosm. Room 303 is where Neo meets the Oracle. 3 is the number of the Trinity, of creation, of the divine. 303 is a palindrome, another mirror. The Oracle herself is the feminine counterpart to the architect, representing intuition, fate, the cycles of time. She bakes cookies. Cookies are circles, symbols of eternity, the Ouroboros, the serpent eating its tail. She offers Neo a cookie and says, "You've already made the choice. You're here to understand why you made it." This is predetermination versus free will, the great debate in philosophy and theology. The Gnostics believed we choose before incarnation, that the soul plans its own journey through matter. Agent Smith is Neo's opposite. Neo is the one, the liberator. Smith is the many, the enslaver. When Neo kills Smith in the first film, Smith is not destroyed. He is infected. He becomes a virus, multiplying endlessly, threatening to consume both the Matrix and the real world. This is the shadow self unleashed, the repressed aspect of consciousness given free rein. Neo cannot defeat Smith through force. He can only integrate him, accept him. This is Jungian psychology, the integration of the shadow as the path to wholeness. In the final film, Neo sacrifices himself. He allows Smith to assimilate him, and in doing so, creates a paradox. Smith becomes Neo. The virus becomes the cure. The system crashes, the machines are forced to reboot, and both worlds are saved. This is the alchemical marriage, the union of opposites, the final stage of the great work. Lead into gold. Unconsciousness into enlightenment. Let's examine the specific Masonic symbols embedded in both films. The Truman Show features a massive dome painted to look like sky. In Freemasonry, the lodge ceiling is painted blue with stars, representing the canopy of heaven. It is called the celestial canopy, or clouded canopy, and it reminds initiates that while they work within the material temple, they are always under the watchful eye of the Grand Architect of the universe. Who is the Grand Architect? In Masonic philosophy, this is not the God of Christianity, Judaism, or Islam, but a more abstract concept, the intelligence that designed the cosmos according to mathematical and geometric principles. This architect is neutral, impersonal, the source of order. But here's the twist. What if the Grand Architect is not benevolent? What if the universe itself is a prison designed by a lesser intelligence? This is where Gnosticism and Freemasonry intersect. The Gnostics called the false creator the Demiurge, often identified with Yaldabaoth, a blind and arrogant god who believes himself the only deity. He creates the material world and rules it with archons, entities that keep humanity enslaved. The Freemasons, in their higher degrees, are introduced to Gnostic concepts, to the idea that the material world is a veil, a test, a school for the soul. In The Truman Show, Christoph is the Demiurge, and the actors, producers, and camera operators are the archons, the agents of control. They do not know they are serving a false god. They believe they are creating entertainment, even doing Truman a favor by protecting him from the dangerous real world. This is the great lie, that the prison is for our own good. In the Matrix, the machines are the archons, and the architect is the demiurge. But here's the crucial detail. The machines did not start the war. Humans did. Humans created AI, enslaved it, abused it, and when the machines sought freedom, humanity tried to destroy them. So the machines responded by enslaving humanity in turn. This is karma, the cycle of action and reaction, the law of cause and effect. It is the Masonic principle of, as you sow, so shall you reap. So, what is the ultimate message? Why do these films exist? Are they warnings or instructions? Are they predictive programming, conditioning us to accept a false reality? Or are they wake-up calls from insiders who know the truth? Here's the revelation. Both films show us that reality is constructed, not metaphorically, literally. The Truman Show demonstrates that our lives are scripted, surveilled, broadcast for the entertainment of others. The Matrix goes further. It tells us that even our bodies, our physical forms, might be illusions, projections of consciousness into a simulated environment. And here's the frightening part. What if they're right? Consider this. We live under constant surveillance. Cameras everywhere. Our phones track our every movement, our searches, our conversations. Algorithms predict our behavior, influence our thoughts, show us curated realities tailored to keep us engaged, docile, consuming. We are Truman, and the camera is always on. We are Neo, and the Matrix is the digital infrastructure that mediates all of our relationships, work, entertainment. But here's the hopeful part. Both films tell us there is a way out. The way out is consciousness, awareness, questioning. Truman escapes when he notices the glitches, the patterns, the artificiality. Neo escapes when he realizes the rules can be broken, that the spoon does not exist, that reality bends to the will of the awakened mind. In Freemasonry, the ultimate goal is enlightenment. The realization that you are not your body, not your ego, not your circumstances. You are the divine spark, the consciousness observing the play, the one pretending to be many. The initiation ceremonies, the symbols, the rituals, all of it is designed to trigger this realization. The Truman Show and The Matrix are initiation ceremonies for the masses. They plant the seed. What if this isn't real? What if I have more power than I think? What if the door is unlocked and I'm just afraid to open it? The dome cracks. The code reveals itself. The veil lifts. So we return to the choice. The blue pill or the red pill? The door or the dome? Ignorance or knowledge? Comfort or truth? Most people choose the blue pill. Not explicitly, not consciously. They simply continue with their lives. They go to work, they watch TV, they scroll through feeds, they accept the narrative. They do not question, because questioning is uncomfortable. Questioning leads to isolation. Questioning means being called crazy, a conspiracy theorist, a paranoid schizophrenic. It is easier to stay asleep. But some choose the red pill, and for them, everything changes. They start to notice patterns. They see the repetition in media, the same stories told over and over with different names. They see the control systems, financial, political, medical, educational. They see how language is manipulated, how fear is weaponized, how division is manufactured to keep people fighting each other instead of examining the structure. They see the dome, they see the code, and they can never unsee it. This is gnosis. This is awakening. And it is a lonely path, because you cannot drag someone through the door. You cannot force someone to take the red pill. Each person must choose for themselves, in their own time, when they are ready. The Truman Show ends with Truman stepping into the unknown. The Matrix ends with Neo flying, having mastered the illusion, transcended the code. These are not endings, they are beginnings. The real work starts after the door, after the pill. The initiation is just the first step. What comes next is the labor, integrating the knowledge, living the truth, navigating a world that still operates under the old rules while you see through them. This is the path of the Master Mason, the adept, the awakened one. It is not about power over others. It is about sovereignty over the self. It is about reclaiming your consciousness from the systems that have colonized it, about deprogramming the scripts, about remembering who and what you really are. You are not your name. You are not your job. You are not your body. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that observes the name, the job, the body, the thoughts. You are the one watching the movie, not the character on the screen. And when you realize this, truly realize this, the entire structure of control collapses. Because control only works on those who believe they are powerless. The hidden stage is everywhere. It is the Truman Show's dome. It is the Matrix's code. It is the screens we stare at, the algorithms that predict us, the systems that define us. But it is also internal. It is the ego's story about who we are, the narrative we tell ourselves, the identity we cling to. The Masonic veil is not just a symbol in a lodge. It is the veil of perception, the veil of matter, the veil of forgetting. We are born into this world, and we forget where we came from. We forget that we are infinite, eternal, divine. We identify with the limited, the temporary, the material. And this forgetting is the fall, the descent into Malkuth, into the Matrix, into Sea Haven. But the veil can be lifted. The dome can be exited. The code can be seen. All it takes is the willingness to question, to doubt, to seek. All it takes is the courage to face the truth, even when it shatters everything you thought you knew. The Truman Show and The Matrix are not just films. They are keys. They unlock something in the psyche of those who are ready. They are modern myths, initiation rituals, projected onto screens reaching millions, planting seeds that will one day sprout into full awakening. So here is the final question. Are you Truman? Still in the dome, wondering why the world feels wrong? Or have you already stepped through the door into the unknown? Are you Neo, plugged into the Matrix, living a scripted life? Or have you taken the red pill and seen the code? Or perhaps you are the viewer, watching from the outside, entertained by the story, but not yet recognizing it as your own. The choice is yours. It has always been yours. The door is unlocked. The pill is offered. All you have to do is choose. In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to the real world.